Thank you very much for joining us this beautiful Saturday morning in which we have seen a little Harmattan haze and a little Harmattan breeze as well. Rivers State has been in a political crisis for a few months following the impasse between the state governor, Sim Fubara, and his predecessor and godfather, former Governor Nyesom Wike, who is now the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, a position which he holds in an all-progressive Congress government. While President Bola Tinubu had earlier...
the fact that he is a member of the opposition. I'm just saying.
Okay. My partner insists that I should stress that he is a member of the opposition party. He's a member of the PDP, and he's in the APC-led central government.
Which is not the first time it's happening. Bola also held an office in an opposition... go on, go ahead.
While President Bola Tinubu had earlier waded into the matter, the political tension in Rivers State has now taken another dimension with what happened in the course of the week. I'm sure you will recall that 27 members of the 32 members of the State Assembly defected to the APC in the course of the week, but we understand that 2 of them have since gone back to the PDP. So we have 2 factions now in the State Assembly, and the governor actually presented his appropriation bill to 5 members in the course of the week. So,
and set a world record, because following it was signed into law.
It was signed, approved by 5 members only out of 32.
If it's a rumor, we'll find out.
Okay. Well, our guest is actually having a little chuckle. And our guest in the studio is Mr. Thangod Nwuga, principal partner of TGE Nwuga & Co., a lawyer and an indigene of Rivers State. Good morning.
Good morning.
And we have joining us via Zoom, advisor on security and revenue generation, Rivers State National Coordinator, South-South Leadership Forum, ANAB's Sarah Igbe. Good morning, Mr. Sarah Igbe.
Morning.
Good of you to join us. Mr. Nwuga, you were chuckling when I was doing my introduction. You come from that state. Is all this coming to you as a bit of surprise, seeing as the current governor is actually godchild of the former governor?
Well, I think it's not a surprise. They didn't come to me as a surprise. Going by the way Wike came to power and going by the system he ran, that system was contradictory. I believe that any system that is founded on contradiction has in it the seeds of its own self-destruction. So when I started noticing the pollution, I wasn't surprised. First of all, I see it in 2 perspectives. Firstly, I see it as a divine intervention in the affairs of men. Secondly, for the former governor, I see it as a case of a chicken coming home to roost after an act of treachery.
Act of treachery?
Treachery, yes.
Yes, you need to explain. Tell us more about that.
Wike came to power in 2015 like a hurricane. He swept everybody asunder. He left blood at trail, and the Rivers people for the past 8 years have been subjugated to his whims, to his caprices. Wike is one governor that demolishes properties of opponents who disagree with him. Wike withdraws certificate of occupancy of properties of dissenting politicians while in church service or even during political rallies. Those who disagree with him are either abused, bullied. He was in peril. Rivers State was his personal estate.
You know, you're a lawyer. So you understand, slander.
I do.
He is not here to defend himself.
I do.
There is no one here to speak on his behalf.
Yes.
Has any of these cases you are alleging been taken to court?
Yes, I think I have to start from myself personally. When he came in 2015, the first, most of his policies were geared towards dislodging some of the structures put in place by his predecessor. The first thing they did was to stop what we call the TMRF, River State Traffic Management Agency, which came into force by virtue of a law of a state of House of Assembly. The second one, he recognized Celestine Omea as a former governor, despite the Supreme Court's decision declaring that Omea had never existed as a governor. I personally went to court. Unfortunately, the judiciary did not do very well at that time. That case was in court for 2 years. In fact, each day it came up. The judge, who is the current chief judge now, ensured that he never sat or he stopped at a case that is next to that one in the list. I was frustrated. Ironically, just because he was good, Omega supported him that time. He recognized him and conferred all the privileges on him. Now, when Omega disagreed with him, he went to God and asked him, bring back 200 million. You get you. So that is how he has run River State. The only interest that is paramount to Governor Wike has been his interest, and sometimes the interest of his equal ethnic, not even equal ethnic, his local government.
Okay, let's ask Mr. Anab Saraigbe, who is with us virtually. How do you open on these issues? There are those who are wondering how the legality of all of these issues, that have happened, the action of the governor, the action of the members of the State House of Assembly and all. How is government internalizing these issues?
Thank you very much. First of all, as elder statesmen, we are looking for how we can make peace in the state, because when there is peace, governance can take place. When there is peace, everybody will go freely. Unfortunately, Mr. President intervened, and Wike said, whatever Mr. President said is not going to abide by it. And ever since then, he has come out with thunder and brimstone. What he will do to this, what he will not do that. First, he asked the assembly members loyal to him to move to APC. And he's a lawyer, he ought to know that move will cost the assembly members their seat.
Mm-hmm. But you also
legal opinion has been
just a second, Mr. Saraigbe. Those legislators in the House of Assembly already came out to say it was a decision they took by themselves and they had nothing to do with the former governor and minister.
My brother, let me tell you, I am a father to some of them. I know they have their personal grievances, but they cannot do what they did without the support of the Godfather. They believe that Wike and Sim are having a problem, and because of that problem, they catch on to that problem to threaten him. Even before the impeachment saga, some commissioners were even threatening the governor, if you do rubbish, we will impeach you. There are all kinds of things. But the governor is a calm person, and I believe strongly that this one man who loves Wike so much and has done so much sacrifice for Wike. Before he became governor and after he became governor, up to today as you're talking, the governor is not disposed to making trouble with the minister. He still see him as father and son relationship, as I speak to you today. So the minister, because of greed, because of one man who wants to get everything, the first thing they did was to take over the two parties, the APC and the PDP. I have never seen in this of politics, I've been in politics for 4 decades plus. I've never seen where one man belongs to the government in power and be in the opposition. Never. This is the first time one will be in 2 political parties, and the parties cannot even discipline him.
But this is not the first time, Mr. Sarigwe, as I quipped when my colleague was introducing this topic, that we would have an opposition official in government, in a current government. The Lagos State governor at the time, that's the current president, when he was governor of Lagos State, had members of the PDP in his cabinet. And at that same time, during that same period, the Obasanjo government had a Bola Ige, at least, in his government, who was a member of the opposition. So it's not something new, is it?
There is difference between serving in the government and the controlling political parties. Today, as we speak, the PDP reports to Wike. The APC reports to Wike in Rivers State. It's different from him serving in the government of Tinubu. The chairman of the APC reports to Wike. The chairman of PDP reports to Wike. So these are clear facts. When somebody is in control, who wants power, it's not the best, and that is what is leading to some of this problem. The House of Assembly members, 27 of them, 2 to understand, came back. And from the way things are going, the Speaker has already declared a seat vacant. The Speaker recognized by law. I will tell you one Anambra State, when Jim Wobodo was going, he brought a successor. And when they disagreed, the successor had 6, Jim Wobodo had 20-something. Jim Wobodo, Adenamani, Jim Wobodo tried to impeach Namani. And Namani, with the 6 mature, they suspend the 27 of Jim Wobodo. And they did that till Jim Wobodo. Namani was able to do his first turn and second turn and left. But in this instance, yeah, he did not only pull the House of Assembly members. I can assure you that more commissioners will leave because he appointed more than 80% of the commissioners in same government. Same with just the announcing the commissioners, but the man who recommended and ensured they are there was the governor. In addition, the governor also decide who gets what contract. And before now, you cannot go to government house unless the governor clears with you, clears with his predecessor to say, look, somebody's coming, can I see him or not? But what is the problem, the bone of the problem? Wike has come to tell the world that he's fighting SIM because of SIM wanting to take his structure. And what are the structures 6 months into election, after elections? What are structures going to do? We are not close to election. So what are structures going to do? But I will tell you why he's talking about the type of structure he's talking about. Now, before Wike left government, the state was getting IDRO of over 10 billion. When he left, the IDRO came down to 6 billion. And the governor, who was the Accountant General when he was there, began to ask questions, why is it coming down? And in the process, he engaged somebody who has passed through that process. So please look at the books for me. Why is my revenue coming down so that I can advise? Then the Commissioner of Finance got to Wike, and Wike got angry. This is a structure. Wike felt the money is collected from the IGR. This boy has come to stop it. And it's taking over 4 billion. So he has come to stop it. Secondly, all the federation account allocation that is coming, Wike before he left, tie all of them to one project or the other and attach it to the bank. So when the money comes, the money goes to the bank collects whatever they want to collect and pay the contractors. Of course, there was no budgetary approval. We don't even know how much was the contract. So when this governor now felt, how will I run a government? I don't have resources to run a government. He became hostile to the governor, and the governor said, okay, let me resign. If that is the case, the PDP elders prevailed on him not to resign, thinking it would be adverse all over. As soon as that came up, personally, I came on air and advised me on Wike, leave this boy alone to govern. Allow him, even if it's your son. I even went as far as giving him references. That look, Saraki and his father, Saraki, the father, Dr. Saraki, brought his son. But when his ideology and the son don't agree, the son told him, Baba, go arrest. That is father and son. So this you cannot bring somebody in governor. A seat, very important seat in Nigeria. That was the seat where Odili sat and almost became a president. That was the seat Amechi sat and connived with others to remove the sitting president. That is the seat Wike himself sat and became Superman. So you are asking somebody who's on that seat to be subservient.
Okay.
But the boy is still loyal.
Okay, let's bring it to you, Mr. Uha. Speak to the legality of this entire process. He cited the example of former Governor Jim Obodo and the efforts, that he tried to make. In more recent history, we had what happened in Edo State, where the minority, was literally just said, sat down the majority in the House, and a number of other examples here and there in the country, in this same Fourth Republic. Please help us understand the legality of those actions. We'll speak about other issues, but speak first of all to the legality of it and how that could be ebbing away on our hard-earned, hard-fought for democracy.
Thank you. I think I watched Mr. Femi Falana essay on this channel, discussing this issue. I think he pointedly said the 27 members who defected did not have sound legal advice. I think I believe most of them feel. If you look at section 109, the introductory part of that section, it's used the word shall. That a member of the state house shall vacate his seat if so thing happens, if he changes his political party. Yeah. When the Constitution uses the word shall, it means it's mandatory.
But don't also forget, in that same section, there was another proviso.
I'm coming to that proviso. Yes, it means it is mandatory. It means at the time you are contemplating on leaving the political party that voted you into the House, you should have in mind that you are gone. You can't eat your cake and have it back. That is the case. All that is required, according to section 2 of that section 109, is for the speaker to give effect to that session. So here, when these young men or men who were elected to serve their people decided to change their party, they cited the reason. Yeah, from what I said, there's a proviso. The essence of a proviso is to limit the oppression of a particular section of the law. So that proviso is if there is division. But the courts have interpreted the meaning of what constitutes division for the purpose of that section in a plethora of cases.
So there is no such division.
What they are saying is that they don't know who is the national secretary of a PDP. They don't know who is national. That is not division. That is a self-imposed division. The courts have said that division must be such that should affect the entire structure of the party and make it impossible for the party to work. There is no such division in PDP. So, when they left, of course the courts, Justice Alagago, had given an order, practically recognizing them and recognizing the speaker, the infractional speaker, and the other members who have not defected. So
in other words, those members who defected are no longer members of the State Assembly.
From the words of the Constitution, they are no longer members. They know it. From the time they contemplated it, if they had gotten good legal advice, they would have known that why contemplating to do this, you should know you're out.
But there was
in that case, what the governor did by presenting the appropriation bill to only the members who had not defected was correct in the eye of the law.
It was proper because de facto, they were the only recognized members of the House Assembly in place.
Now, does it also, is the law also on the side of passing that bill on one day, of presenting that bill on one day, taking the bill through the process in 24 hours, and the bill was signed the following day into law?
Well, I am not aware of any law that gives any time frame. I think what is important is the interest of the people. What should we be looking at is this is a state that has the highest number of unemployment. This is a state that has the highest level of insecurity. Any governor elected there should act like a cyclone.
Again, Mr. Wuha, speak to the law and what is proper.
That is
just a second.
That is why I said.
See, the law will cover quite a number of ministries, departments, and agencies.
Yes.
And it is all for good governance. The law also recognizes the need to service a good number of local government areas in the same state.
Yes.
So, in the eye of rule of law, of good governance, and all of those things, do you think there was due process followed?
Well, from speaking as a lawyer, I think if one might say that the passage was rather very hasty, but is there any law forbidding what they did?
Yeah.
If there's no law forbidding what they did, I won't blame them. I think whatever they did was informed by the exigencies of the moment, which they are privy to. You and I are not. So it is every law has its reasons why it was created.
Okay.
Mr. Saraibe, what do you think about the speed with which the State House of Assembly was demolished? Do you think there were any ulterior motives for that?
Well, the governor or the government has come out with a statement that after the dynamite, it affected the structure, and the place is not conducive enough for them to use as House of Assembly. You know, we have what you call public liability in insurance. If a place is insured and you cannot be able to secure the people who are coming, a third party in particular, and that there's an accident, you are liable to it. So if government felt that, look, this place is no longer conducive for them to run the house, well, they can provide an alternative place and demolish and build a new one. Don't forget that the governor is the custodian of all the properties of the government. And as a custodian, he knows what is best for every part of the government, every arm of the government. And so if they felt that the engineers have so advised them and it is the best interest of the public to rebuild the place, so be it. The legislature has no right to ask governor, why do you destroy? Why do you demolish? Also, he has gone to court to say he wants to renovate the place. And if in the course of renovation, they still see that the best thing is to build a better house and demolish, so be it. So for me, I don't see anything wrong with the demolition of that assembly. That's one aspect of my answer.
Staying with you, sir. I beg your pardon.
You've asked people.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Saraibe. We have to manage our time. We're running out of time. Staying with you, what is the atmosphere like in the state in light of all these happenings, you know, and the rapidity with which they're happening?
Well, Rivers people are not happy with the developments in the state. And 95% of the people are blaming the former governor. They are blaming him in the sense that he had his own 8 years, uninterrupted, nobody disturbed him. He is talking about ingratitude. He was the most man with ingratitude because Jonathan and his wife stood for him against the odds, against every odds, that his own brother was just going, and the Korean man was just going, and he came in to stay. For him to come, there was a big fight. Jonathan and his wife stood. I know how many times Jonathan and his wife approached me to support. Bepe, advanced Bepe, was like the messenger they were using. And when I asked Mr. Jonathan, he said he's a friend to Advanced Bepe, and Advanced Bepe has spoken so much about him. But today, how did he pay back to Jonathan and his wife? What of the baby that was the errand boy? How did he address his case? He went to took the structure of PDP from Juyo Aki through go round Felix Ogua and Ibibia Walter, using them to lie before the court that they were duly elected in the convention. Whereas that was a total lie. Okay, well, Mr. Aransari,
let's wrap up with solutions and reconciliation. You began, and I was very glad when you mentioned it, by saying that you're a statesman, and as statesman, you have to measure your responses to some of these issues. This is the reality we have on our hands now. For you, what is the way forward so that not only do we see things, do things look peaceful, but they are actually peaceful indeed, and it's not just something that looks it. What would be your recommendation in mending fences across board so that at the end of the day, it is the people of Rivers State that benefit?
Well, the Rivers State Elders Council and the leaders of thought have met, and they have decided to talk to both parties. They've written to Mr. Wike, they've also written to the governor with the view of hearing from both sides and maintain peace.
Okay.
So what we are saying, because the state is tensed up because of several factors, but we believe that we can maintain peace. Wike, as a governor, took over the civil service quarters, allocated it to his friends, sacked them, removed them from their quarters. Permanent secretaries don't have more quarters again. Commissioners don't have quarters again. That is also another anger. And you can see the hand of Wike all over the place. Nobody is quarreling. He's the luckiest man to serve 8 years, dash Rivers people money, so much money, would nobody probing you.
So what you also mentioned is
why is still loyal to you.
Just 1 second. Just 1 second, Mr. Sarigwe. So you have said that the elders have met and they are making recommendations. How soon do you see this meeting happening?
Well, Ada George is the leader of the University Elders of Thought.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. We couldn't just hear you now. We'll come back to you just to take that final thought because we certainly kind of lost that audio. Well, Mr. Uga, let's move forward. For the sake of peace, what would be your recommendation as objectively as you can?
Well, I think a political solution, as suggested by the elder statesman, should be something that should be resorted to. Because to be faster, the governor needs to know his position so that he can start planning and working for Rivers people. The deluge of litigation may not solve the problem. Today, what has happened in court will end at the end of a spring court until it is completed. Nobody knows its fate. So if a political solution can be sought and everything amicably settled, so these people can settle down, Assembly can settle down and make law for Rivers people, and the governor can settle down and implement the laws.
Okay, let's see if we can have Mr. Sarigwe's last comments. So, Mr. Sarigwe, if you can hear me, when is that meeting likely to happen between, that is being called by the elders?
Well, the elders council are wishing to.
Oh, we still can't hear him.
The elder council are wishing to. But yes, okay,
sorry, Mr. Sarigwe.
It all depends. Yes.
Okay. It all depends on what?
I said that depends on when they will respond.
Okay,
to
all right. Okay.
the meeting.
All right.
Okay.
If I had a judge, today is the most senior former governor in the state.
Okay.
Minus the SSLF. So if he's
thank
calling
you
the
very
meeting
much.
and they honor him, I think we can get somewhere.
Thank you very much. Before I say thank you to both our guests this morning, I'd just like to remind you all that when Edo State had crisis with godfatherism and godsonism, you will recall what Nyesom Wike's reaction was and how vehemently he stood behind Obaseki and actually encouraged him to break away from his godfather. So I leave you to be the judge, and I leave you to interpret what I have just said, whichever way you want. I'll just say thank you to Mr. Anabs Sarah Igbe, advisor on security and revenue generation, who joined us via Zoom from Rivers State. And we had in the studio, thank God, Unga, principal partner, TG Unga and Co., a lawyer and an indigene of Rivers State. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
And sorry about all that's going on in your state. We hope that everything will be resolved very quickly.
Let me just make a correction.
Yes, sir.
I was a security advisor, not the current security advisor.
Oh, okay.
I was a security advisor under Odili, so I'm Dr. Peter Odili.
Former.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Former, yeah, so, no.
Sunrise will return in just a moment with another interesting conversation. Do stay with us.